Hey everyone, welcome back to the Python Master Series. And today we will be understanding about variables. This is your day 2 and you'll be learning a lot more than what you did yesterday, right? So on the previous day, we learned about installing the VS Code. We have set up our Python development environment. Apart from that, we have also ensured that how do we print something onto the console, right? Now today you will be learning about how we take inputs. You'll be learning about how do we create variables, what are the rules which are behind creating a variable, right? So let's get started. Now, what is a variable, right? So a variable is a very simple thing. Think about you're basically carrying some food or maybe any item in a container, right? So that's kind of a variable. Variable basically means that we are actually storing some kind of information in a container, and that container is known as a variable. Okay, done. So up here you can easily see in this example I have basically stored age, right? And age is my variable and I have assigned 25 to that, right? So like this, like simple mathematical things which we do, right? Like x equals 2, y equals 3. Similar to that only, we are just saying that age is 25. And we have also created another variable that is name, and we have assigned a value to that. That's basically Alex, the name Alex, right? Let's move forward. Now, when we go to the next slide, we will be able to know that what are the rules for naming a variable, right? So these are the rules which you have to follow. Ensure that you're not using any special case characters, whether we talk about, at the rate symbols or maybe dollar symbol or anything. Only one symbol that has been allowed, that's your underscore, okay? Any variable should always start with a letter. Okay, it cannot start with a number or underscore. Ensure that you're starting with a letter. It can be in small case or capital, it doesn't matter, but it has to be a variable. Okay, also ensure that whenever you are creating a variable, variables are case sensitive, right? So if I write name where name, everything is small case, and I write another name where n is capital, right? Both of them are completely different, which you can see on the fourth point. Okay, so they are different. Ensure that you're not doing that. And then there is one more important thing. Some of the names are being already parked by Python because they hold a meaning. There is a particular purpose for that. You cannot use them as a variable, right? So like whether we talk about class, true, there is a lot more keywords which you will be learning in the upcoming classes. So don't worry about that. Ensure that you're not using them as your variable name, because that will throw you an error, right? So these are the simple rules. What are the rules? We cannot use any special characters except underscore, right? Every variable should start with a letter. It can be capital or small, right? It cannot start with a number. Numbers can be included in between, but it cannot be included at the start. Very simple thing, okay? One more thing, variables are case sensitive. So if you write your name in uppercase and then you write your name in small case and you say both of them are variables, they are different variables, though they are your name, but one of them is capital, one of them is in small case, right? So you have to ensure about that. And one more important thing which I told you about is that Python has some keywords. Keywords are basically some purposeful things which has some meaning, right? We cannot create them as our own variables. Okay, so they are already blocked by Python. Okay, let's move to the next one, right? Now, these are a few important things. Whenever we are actually taking inputs, we have to ensure we use the input function. There is a one beautiful thing about input function, okay? So whenever you try to take any input in Python, by default, it's always going to be a string, right? A string is basically something in which you generally keep your words, sentences, your names, and everything up. Now, we have to learn about typecasting with that. Why do we have to do that, right? The reason is a string is not a number, okay? So you might give like 2 and 3 and you try to add them up. They're actually strings, not numbers, okay? So we have to convert them to integer. Always remember this, we never mention by default integer or float or all of these things into the variable naming, okay? Like any other programming languages, maybe you might have used C before, or C++ or Java, right? Up there we used to write int and then a variable name, and then you might have written something up there. We don't do these things in Python because Python has inference. It can understand the data which you're providing, and accordingly it basically assign the type of the variable. Okay, done. But we can also use typecasting if we have to do it manually. Done. So that's what we are going to learn. Let's go to the code now. Okay, now because you have understood the concept, let's try to do a little bit code up here, right? So what we have to do, you can see we have done this already on the previous day. You understood about printing something onto the screen, right? So first of all, how do we create another folder? We have to click on this arrow again to close day one. Now day one is still selected, click anywhere else like this. Now click on this second option to create another folder. I can name it as day two, and then I have to expand this day2, and I will create a new code up there, and I will name it as again main.py. Now my second code is ready, right? And I can start, doing the thing, whatever I have to do, right? So what was the very first thing which we understood about? That was taking input and learning about variables. So let's learn a little bit about variables first of all. So let's suppose I create a variable as a, and I can create another variable as b, right? And I can add them up. So I can just say a plus b. So this is how you can create a variable, right? Always remember variables can be of single characters, but if they are of single characters, they have to be alphabets. They cannot be number, right? So this is how you do the code. You just click on Control S to save the code and you can execute it. And once you execute it, you can see the output, that's 30, right? Now we can create more variables like age. You can say age is 18 maybe. You can say name is maybe John if you have to store like that, right? You can create another variable like city, and you can say maybe New York, right? And you can combine all of them together. So that's a very important thing. And how do we combine them? So we can just write name, provide a comma, write your name variable up there. Again, put a space, write age, and after that you can basically do age. So what is happening up here, right? So this name is a string, and with this string you are basically attaching another variable, that is name. So after this name, automatically whatever we have kept in this variable will be printed up here. So it will just say name is John and then age is 18, right? Similarly, if you have to print the city, you can just say print city, and you can just do city up there. So automatically the value of the city will be printed. Let's see if it is working or not. There you go. So name is John, age is 18, and the city is New York. Okay. Now let's try to understand a little bit more around variables, which I was telling you about, that we can also create variables with numbers, underscores, and everything up. So I can also say maybe, salary current is maybe $5,000. And then I can also mention another one, salary previous as 4,000. You can use all that normal subtractions and addition symbols which you already have been doing in mathematics. So I can just say salary current minus salary previous to get the total gain in the salary. Let's see. There you go. So if it is going to be printed, I have to first save it, again run it, and you can see the difference is $1,000, right? Now we can move forward and we can learn about taking inputs. Okay, so whenever we want to take input, we can just write a variable that's maybe I want to create name again. Now because there is already a variable with the name, I have to change this. Maybe I can write another variable with full name. Ensure that you're not creating the same variable name again and again, though you can do that, but I will not suggest you to do that, right? Now we can just write input, and I can just type, okay, enter your full name. So we are asking for the full name, okay? And the user will enter the full name, and then we can just print a message. Maybe your full name is maybe the full name, right? Whichever we have up there. And you're done. Save it, run this again. It's asking for your full name. I can just write coding hub. And there you go. Your full name is coding hub. Okay. So one more thing you have to ensure, let's suppose we were doing some subtraction up here, right? With the salary. Can we do a similar thing by just keeping this as an input? Let's see what will be the issue. Okay. So let's suppose I take number one, and I'm asking the user that, hey, enter first number, right? And we might ask the user to enter another number as number 2. We might just tell them, hey, enter second number, right? And the user will give us the second number. Now, what is the challenge up here, right? Let's suppose I just do sum of two numbers is, and I just write maybe, like number 1 plus number 2. Okay, let's see this, okay? I'm executing it. Great. It's asking me for the name. I will just write coding hub. It's asking me for the first number, 10. It's asking me for the next number. What do you think? So what will be printed? Will it be 30? No, it will be 1020. And you'll be like, why? Why is it 1020, right? Isn't it number? No. So by default, they will be considered as sentences. Now, if you have two sentences and you do an addition between them, what will happen? They will merge together. That's the reason we were learning about typecasting. Okay. So how do you typecast it? You just wrap it around int because we are creating integers. Now, don't worry about typecasting. We will be discussing about it in the upcoming sessions as well. It's not like, it's not over yet until we are done with everything. Okay. Now, we have mentioned that both of these inputs which we are taking, don't take them as a string, but consider them to be an integer. Now, as soon as you do that, what will happen? Now they are turned to a number, right? Now, if you write the same thing, you again run this. This time you're writing your name again, coding hub. I mentioned 10, 20, it will be 30. Okay. So that's the reason we were basically learning about typecasting. Okay. Now there is a lot of things like floating and everything up, which we will be learning about in the upcoming sessions. Okay, there is few more ways to actually print some information, but before that I want to show you something. There is one more important thing in Python that is known as comments. Okay, and how do we create comments? We hold the shift key, we press the hashtag, and that's a comment. Now comments are something which is not going to be executed by Python. Okay, so these are just for informational purposes. We add comments to provide information of our code or maybe description of our code to the next person who is watching your code, okay, or who is seeing your code. Now, how do you select the entire thing and make it a comment? So you select the entire thing, hold the control key and press the backslash, and the entire thing will turn into a comment. Okay, so control and then the backslash. Okay, because I don't want to execute it again and again. Okay, now let's learn a little bit more. Okay, let's suppose I take the name again. Now this is completely different. I am asking for the name again. I am asking for the age again. Now age is definitely integer, not a string, right? And we can combine all of them together by just using our f string, right? F string basically help us to print every single information, whether variables or strings you want to do, right, inside a single double quotation. Okay, so we don't have to worry about like creating multiple by comma separating. Okay, so I can just say hello name, you are age, years old, right? So this increases the readability of the code. It's very easy to understand. Okay, first hello will be printed, then the name will appear from here, whatever the user is going to give us. After that, you are going to be printed, then the age should be printed up here, and then the years old, right? Let's try to execute this now. Okay, once we execute this, we can just mention the name. So name will be coding hub, and it's 1 year old. Now it's going to say, hello coding hub, you are 1 year old. Okay, simple. So this is how you do the basic thing. Okay, now what is the small mini project for today? Okay, so we'll be printing a welcome message. Done. So let's try to take a name. We can just mention enter your name, and then after taking the name, I might try to ask the user about their age. Enter your age. We can also take the profession, enter your profession. There you go. Let's try to write a welcome message using a f string. So we can just write hello name. We can write another one where we will be just mentioning you are, basically we are writing a hello to others. So we can just say I am this year's old. And then I can also write my profession, right? So my profession is whatever the profession I have. There you go. So what I am doing, I'm taking the name as the input, I'm taking the age as the input, right? And I'm taking the profession as an input, and I'm printing all of them one by one using the simple F string. Okay. Now save this. Let's execute it. I can type my name. So it will be coding hub. I can write the age and I can write the profession. Make the world better place. There you go. Hello, Coding Hub. I am 1 year old. My profession is make the world a better place. Okay, done. So this is it. This is it that was needed to be covered today. We have understood about variables. We now know whenever we are creating a variable, what rules we have to focus on, right? Why we are actually using typecasting, how do we take input, and with that we also learned about different ways, techniques to print variables and strings together. We learned about the formatted string technique, we learned about the comma separated technique, right? And that's it for the day, and I'll be meeting you again on day 3. So gear up guys, we are covering a lot, and on the next day we will be covering about operators, and we will also learn about few more important things. Okay, so bye, see you till then.